Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to the Storytime Society. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so happy that you're here on this planet and alive. We love you. We as in me, because this is a one-man show here. But anyways, happy Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday? Yeah. Yes, happy Wednesday. Okay. I feel like a millennial sometimes. Sometimes I feel like my humor or like the way that I speak is like, you know, those millennial, which nothing wrong with being a millennial, but you know the millennial videos where it's like making fun of like the way that millennials talk, like, you know what's the craziest thing? Like, I don't even know how to do it, but I was just watching one today and it was funny. But anyways, happy Wednesday. I have my iced latte here. It's like half heavy. Actually, it's not heavy cream, just regular whipping cream, like half of it because I ran out of milk and I was like, oop, I forgot that I was kind of out of milk and I had already made 2 espresso shots. So we kind of improvised. And it's just not full all the way because I didn't want to use like too much whipping cream. Like, I don't know, that'd be a little crazy. So I have my sugar-free hazelnut latte here. That's my first sip. Oh my God, it's a little thick, a little too thick. It's still good. It just kind of tastes like a milkshake of some sort. It's really nice out right now. It was storming earlier, which I kind of wish it was storming still because I love the rainy day episodes. And yeah, slay. Okay. Anyways, let's get into the episode because we really have nothing to talk about. I have nothing to say, no updates other than me just decorating my house still. And why do I feel like I don't want anyone to come over until it's all decorated? And like, I didn't want to send my best friend, like my childhood best friend was asking me for pictures and I was like, I'll send you pictures when I'm done decorating. And then like a couple days later, I still hadn't sent her pictures and she was like, girl, pictures. And I'm like, I'm not done decorating yet, but I guess it's fine. I'll send you pictures. I don't know why, but I'm like a perfectionist in that way just because like I love like interior design. And yeah, so I'm like still doing stuff. And today I got this literally amazing lamp. It's a floor lamp. It's like super tall. It's probably like 5'5" or like 5'6", and it's from the 1960s. At least like the base of it is. It's like an orangish peachish color kind of, but it's like a concrete little base. And the shade is feathers, like just feathers, and it's gorgina. I don't know what my boyfriend's gonna think about it, but he lets me be in control because he knows that I'm right about this, you know? Like, he looks at the singular thing. I'll show him and I'm like, I want this, and he's like, ooh, like that is scary because obviously like all he likes is gray. That's literally his personality trait. That's like what he likes to dress in. That's what he likes to decorate stuff with. If it were up to him, everything in our house would be gray. So it's not going to be up to him. But then once I put it all together, he's like, oh my God, it looks so good. Or like I have to show him my vision board for him to get it. Like he needs to understand, like I was like, I want an orange couch. He's like, not orange. And I'm like, yes. And I showed him like pictures of what I was going for, like kind of like a 70s vibe, like orange and green, like nice, you know, like bright colors and like, I don't know, just light, moody lights and stuff. And he was like, okay, now I get it. Like, okay, we can get an orange couch. But sometimes I just make decisions without telling him, because if I would have showed him this feather lamp, he would have been like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, you don't understand. It's from the 1960s. Does that not make it cool? Like, no matter what it looked like to me, being from the 1960s makes it, in my head, makes it look so much cooler. If someone showed me like certain things and they were like, oh yeah, this is like a modern lamp, I would be like, ew. But then if they told me, just kidding, it's actually from the 1960s, I would completely change my view and be like, wait, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen. If you know, you know. I don't know. That's just me. I'm a vintage girly through and through. I'm just like obsessed with anything vintage. But it can't just look vintage. Like, it needs to be vintage, true vintage. Because things that look vintage, like, that's not vintage. I don't know. I don't want to get too on my little spiel, but I've always been a vintage girly. So yeah, I'm just loving interior decorating right now. It's just so fun. And yeah, but we have some stories, so let's get into the stories, y'all. And this is the one that we're going to start with because I saw this morning and I was like, damn, that story looks like it's going to be crazy. The title is just crazy, so if the story actually lines up with the title, we are in for a roller coaster of a ride. I was thinking about doing this on my TikTok because I like get ready and read the stories, and like people think that it's my story obviously, but I was like, I don't really want to get like shat on, because if people think that it's my story, even though I literally say that it's a Reddit story, then people would literally shit on me for this, I think. But I don't know, because I haven't read the story, so it could just end up being a fine story. Okay, can I shut the fuck up actually for 5 seconds? I'm so sorry. Genuinely, I apologize. Okay, the title is, I slept with my sister's husband after she passed away. Yeah, you heard that. My older sister passed away 7 months ago. It was an accident, so totally unexpected, and I still don't believe she's actually gone most of the time. It feels unreal. Our family still hasn't recovered, and I don't know when or if we ever will. My sister was 10 years older than me. I'm 22, and she would be 32 now. She and her husband have 2 kids, both under 5 years old. My family has been helping him with the kids. He's a good dad, but understandably, to suddenly become a single parent to very young kids, all while needing to maintain his job and dealing with the grief of losing his wife, he needs help. He moved here because my sister wanted to be near us, her family. She wanted to raise her kids where we're from, where she grew up. He's from another state originally, but he agreed to settle down here when they got married because it was so important to my sister. I think we're all nervous he'll move away now that he has no reason to stay, and we won't get to see the kids often. I just graduated college in the spring. This past year, I was helping out with my niece and nephew a lot. I often picked them up from daycare and things like that because I have a flexible schedule compared to everyone else. I've always got along with my brother-in-law really well. He's always been nice to me and treated me like a little sister. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to him for advice, especially regarding guys and things like that. It's easier to talk to him about certain things because he gives me more honest, unbiased advice than my parents or sister. I really thought my sister was so lucky, and he was like the type of guy everyone wants to marry. Good looking, good job, great dad, really personable, responsible, just like the definition of the complete package. My sister had been with him since they were both freshmen in college, and we all knew she was going to marry him the first time we met him. Even me, as a little kid, knew he was the one. I slept with my brother-in-law this weekend. I was over there on Friday. I picked up the kids from daycare, which I do every Friday since I only work half a day. I made dinner over there. I had no intention of sleeping with him or trying to sleep with him. I've not been aiming for this to happen. He initiated it. I didn't say no. It started with kissing, then he started taking my top off, and I let him do it. He didn't force me, to be very clear. He's never done anything that I'd consider inappropriate with me or towards me. At the time, I enjoyed it. It made me feel so good that he wanted me, but at the same time, I kept thinking, this is wrong, this is wrong. I sort of just laid there. It was just very much about him getting off. I think he just needed it to feel comforted or something. Afterwards, we got dressed and didn't say anything. Then he said he was really sorry and that we shouldn't have done it. I told him that it was okay. He said he'd prefer if we don't tell anyone about it. I didn't plan to. I feel so dirty about it. It was wrong. I feel like a little kid who has done something that they're going to get punished for, and I'm convinced somebody is going to find out. That's a lot to unpack. First of all, it is a little weird to me that she's 22. I mean, I guess 20, it's like, I don't know. At what point is it like considered, I think for everyone it's different, but to me, it's a little weird. It's just a little young. But at the same time, she is fully an adult. Like, she can drink, she can do all that. So maybe I'm just being judgmental about that. I don't know. But to me, it's a little strange. And then the second thing is, like, I don't really think guys are like this but maybe, because you know what? I'm sorry to say it. I've probably already said it before, to be honest, but men are just so damn desperate that genuinely, like, obviously, if someone cheated on, which this is not someone cheating, okay? I'm getting off track here, but this is what I'm thinking in my head right now, and I just want to say it out loud. If your boyfriend cheated on you with someone, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that he was more attracted to her or that he was even attracted to her at all. Men are literally so desperate. Like, if they haven't gotten off in like a week, they will see like a speck of dust and get horny over it. They will see like an outlet and be like, oh. Like, they'll see a jar of peanut butter and be like, oh my God, like, get a boner over it. So, I'm so sorry. If you're a man watching this, which you probably aren't, just click out, honestly. I'm embarrassed. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's just like they're so desperate. So it's not like what I was going to say was, did he always think that her younger sister was hot and like he always wanted to sleep with her? But probably not. That probably was not the case, honestly, because that's just not even how it works, I feel like. Like, I just feel like they'll just do it. They'll do it with whomever is there, you know? And I'm sure he's just like, he probably hasn't even slept with anyone since his wife and her sister died. I bet. So, like, it probably feels like because you pick up the kids and you are, making dinner or something? Making dinner, like, you're kind of playing house with him in a way. But, like, I don't think she's intentionally doing that, obviously. I just think that she's trying to help him out. And then I think that, like, he probably, in his head, kind of convinced himself, like, that, you know, subconsciously he's thinking, like, oh, like, this is my wife, kind of. I don't know. And then maybe they look like, I don't know. But grief can do crazy things to you. And although I think it's been, like, a year since that happened? 7 months ago since that happened? Okay, so that's, like, a lot less time than I thought. So he is grieving. Like, he's in the heart of the process. Not saying that you ever, like, fully get over it, but, like, obviously after a few years, like, it definitely becomes less notable, I would think. I've never had, like, my partner pass away, but that's what I would think. So I think, like, in the thick of it, he's probably just really not thinking straight, and I'm sure she isn't either, because she obviously thinks so highly of him, so she probably was just, like, getting those feelings, and then once they did it, they realized, like, that it wasn't okay. But I'm just, like, really thinking that although they immediately realized, like, okay, this is not okay, like, let's not tell anyone, which obviously you're not going to tell anyone. That would be crazy. But I honestly feel like they might keep doing it. I genuinely feel like he's going to. Or they are going to. Oh my God, there's so many comments. Like, I went to her profile to see, like, if she's made an update or anything, and she's literally commented back to so many things. I want to read some of them, but I only want to read, like, the good ones. One of the comments she responded to, she says, he wasn't pounding away. That's gross. It wasn't like that. And it also wasn't like super fun, carefree sex. It was more like very slow, emotional, intense comfort sex. And we didn't say anything during it, really. There was no dirty talk or anything like that. I just felt like I was providing him comfort. I wasn't laying there motionless, but I felt like I needed to lay there and provide him with this outlet. It's hard to explain without really sounding weird. When he was done, but still on top of me, we kissed for a while. I told him I loved him. I didn't mean it like I'm in love with him. And he didn't say anything back to me. Oh, what? Girl, you should put that in the story. That was crazy. You told him you loved him? You didn't mean it like you were in love with him? Well, girl, that's what he's thinking. And the fact that he didn't say anything back is kind of so sad. We were in the upstairs hallway. He was downstairs washing dishes from dinner, and I was upstairs doing the kids' bath and bedtime routine. See, you're playing house. I know you're not meaning to do that, but, like, I think that's where everything was getting a little misconstrued. I hadn't even planned to stay that late, but the oldest one wanted me to do the bedtime routine. My brother-in-law even told my nephew that I had to go home, but then my nephew started to have a meltdown, so I said that I'd do it. After they were in bed, I cleaned up the bathroom and was just doing a few other things, like putting some folded towels away. He came upstairs and told me he had it, that I didn't have to do those things. I told him it was fine. I liked helping, and it didn't bother me. That's when it happened. I wasn't anticipating it. I kissed him back. Why does this sound like a movie? Make a movie out of this. Let's see. I'm going to see what this comment says that she responded to. Ugh, hello. I need to see. I never know if I should press single comment thread or see full discussion when I want to see like what the original comment says, but it doesn't even say anything because I think they deleted it. So she said it wouldn't be weird if we ended up together. I'm pretty sure everyone we know would think it was pretty dang weird. Someone responded to that and said, in case that's not just an idle question and this is actually on your mind as something you might want to get into, it would of course be weird simply because it's uncommon, but that wouldn't make it objectively wrong. However, at this time, what it would very likely do is cause some people in both of your families to think, were they together when she was alive? And that could get very ugly very quickly. I don't think either of you want to face that kind of stress. For that reason, and also because your current feelings are strongly motivated by grief, if you harbor any desire at all for this to be more than a one-night thing, it would be highly advisable for you to put this out of your mind and try to keep your distance from each other for at least the next 6 months or so while you process that grief. It would be weird. You are trying to replace your sister. First, you sleep with her husband, which at any point you could have stopped, and now you are being over-involved with the kids. I have a few nieces and nephews, and while I do help babysitting and whatnot, I am not raising them. That is their parents' job, or in this case, your brother-in-law. Well, sorry, you're not in the same situation. Just here for the drama. Her sister literally passed away, like, it's okay for the brother-in-law to need help, you asshole. Okay. I was going to tell this, like, tiny little blip of a story, but it's not really relative because my sister's still alive. But her boyfriend that she literally had, my niece's dad. I shouldn't be saying this. No, it's fine. No, like, none of them are going to watch it unless I literally blow up or something, but it's not even that bad. Why am I being so weird about it? He literally, so they were together for so long, and we like all lived together at one point when my sister was pregnant, and after she had the baby, we still lived together for like a year after that. So I like really helped them basically raise my niece for a while, and even after that, after they moved down to their own apartment, I would babysit her like a lot, like a few times a week, just because we were like so close, and I just like love my niece. I love her so much. But yeah, so we all like lived together when I was literally, how old was I? I was a freshman in high school. From a freshman in high school to sophomore in high school, like that year. So I think all of freshman year and like most of sophomore year we lived together, I think. Yeah. And my mom too, and my brother, like we all had a house together. And that's just like a preface of the story, but they broke up like years and years later down the road. But when I was in college, I think I had come back from college or something, and it was like the summer of my freshman going into sophomore year of college, I think. And he was not doing well. Like, let me tell you, this guy, he like really got badly addicted to like hard drugs and really went downhill. And so he kind of was like not, like I wasn't really even thinking that this was like him. He was like, he was not himself. Like he was just not normal anymore. And he had really like changed so much. And obviously most of the time, like he was high on drugs. So I don't really like blame him for this. It's obviously he has an addiction, which is really sad. But it was just crazy because he asked to take me out on a date to Happy Joe's, which is this like pizza place in my town that I grew up in. And I was like 20, I think, at the time, and me and my sister were like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, are you okay? But obviously he was not okay, and he still like isn't okay, which is really sad. But it was just crazy because like, why would you ever ask me that? And not only that, but like to Happy Joe's. Like Happy Joe's, like, I don't know, if you knew what Happy Joe's was, like, you'd probably think it's more funny than it actually like seems right now. But it's just like, it's just so silly goose. But that really has nothing to do with it, because obviously I didn't go on a date with my literal niece's dad. But also, me and my sister are 12 years apart, so like, that would be so weird if I always like had crushes on her boyfriends, but like, that was when I was like little, not when I was 20 years old. Once I was like old enough, I was not crushing on her boyfriends anymore. You know what I mean? Okay, but anyways, sorry, that's really off topic. I just thought that was funny, and I think I gave too much detail, honestly, because it wasn't really necessary. All I should have said is like, he asked me out on a date. But okay, some of the comments say, I bet that post-nut clarity hit like an atomic bomb. Yeah, he's definitely moving out of state now. Absolutely, that man is gone now. Shadow burned into the pavement, shadow burned through the box spring and into the floorboards. This really seems to happen more frequently than most people mention. I swear I have read at least 3 other posts about this as well, and personally know a couple of times I'm pretty sure similar things have happened. Yeah, I genuinely feel like it definitely, like, I think it's the grief. Like, I genuinely think that it's like trauma, like, would that be, no, that's not trauma bonding. But, like, that's what people think that trauma bonding is, you know, like bonding over trauma, but really that's not what trauma bonding is. But in the sense of, like, that they were bonding over trauma, kind of, not trauma bonded. Let me make myself very clear. I know what trauma bonded means. Some people really throw around, which I have thrown around that word before, like, in that way. But what's the word for, like, actually bonding over trauma, you know? What do you say we just bonded over trauma, probably? Yeah, probably. Okay, next story. Trigger warning, this is going to be suicide and maybe self-harm. I don't know. I haven't read it, but I'm going to just say those 2 trigger warnings. Okay. My 23 female boyfriend's 24 male ex took her own life because of him, and I don't know what to think. How do I proceed? I, 23 female, have been with my boyfriend, 24 male, for just over 6 months, and we were planning for me to move in with him soon. He's a wonderful boyfriend, and he makes me feel very loved, safe, and peaceful. For our 6th month, he took me on a mini vacation for a weekend to a beach town a few hours from our city, and I posted some of the pictures we took together on social media, and today I got a DM that I should know something about my boyfriend. It was a friend of his ex telling me that 2 years ago, my boyfriend's ex cheated on him, and he immediately broke up with her. She threatened to take her own life if he didn't forgive her, and my boyfriend told her that she was worthless and pathetic anyway, and she might as well do it. This girl had a thing for my boyfriend back then, and he hooked up with her and sent a picture of them kissing to his ex just to spite her. His ex did end up taking her own life, and several people blamed him for what happened. I asked my boyfriend if this was true, and he confessed that it all was. He says he regrets telling his ex that she was worthless and all of that, and using her friend to spite her, and that he did apologize to the friend. This is the first red flag I've seen in my boyfriend. I don't know about his past, but he's genuinely a good person today. He works hard, and he cares for the people in his life. My parents and siblings love him. Even my niece loves him. I'm so conflicted on how I should feel right now. On one hand, he's my dream man, and I see my future with him, but at the same time, I can't just ignore this. How should I proceed, or what would you do if you were in my case? Okay. Well, first of all, I literally stuttered when I read that because I thought that it was saying this girl had a thing for my boy, or no. I thought that it was saying the guy, her ex, oh my God, shut the fuck up. I thought that it was saying this girl's boyfriend cheated on the girl, and then she ended up, like, unaliving herself. But that is really sad. Like, obviously, that is so upsetting and so sad, but it is a bigger, much bigger problem than just this situation. Like, this is so sensitive because obviously this is like a very, very, very touchy subject. And I mean, I have personally dealt with, and in my very, very close family, dealt with like suicide ideation and suicide in general. And to be suicidal, like, you are very, very mentally ill. Like, you don't just have a situation and then that is like, okay, I'm gonna kill myself, you know? Like, that's not how it works. It's not one situation, or yeah, it's not just one situation that would make you do that. Like, it is not this guy's fault, and it's really, really sad that people are blaming him for what happened, and also for her to like basically say that she like is going to because of him. But obviously she was not in a good mental state at all, and she needed help, and it wasn't just because of this. Like, I'm sure that is a big deal. You don't do that decision and make that decision lightly. That is something that is really, like, I'm sure she's thought about it before, and this situation it just was like motivating her more to do it. But I'm sure she's had these thoughts. I'm sure she had I'm sure she had depression. Like, I don't think you just do that without, you know? I mean, I'm sure maybe in some cases that happens, like somebody really does take their own life just because like something like this happened. But I feel like no matter what, like, you probably needed to get like psychological help and probably get on medication or go to therapy or something, because you don't just do that just because like one thing happens. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like say it in the most respectful way possible, because obviously like this girl, that's so upsetting and so sad, and to me it's really, really also super sad that people are blaming this guy, and this is like he has to deal with that and have that on his chest and have that on his shoulders, and like probably feel extremely guilty, because I'm sure he feels so sad and upset that he said that to her. But obviously he said that to her because he was hurt, and like she cheated on him, so he was probably just like, she's not gonna actually do it, like whatever. And he's pissed at her, so he's like blah 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 blah, like saying that things that he doesn't mean, not thinking that she's actually gonna do something like that. But then like she does, and that's obviously where you learn like your words do mean something. But I just feel like he shouldn't think that it's his fault, because I just don't think that is true. But I don't know. Let me see what these people are saying. Okay. Some of the comments are saying, you need to stop saying because of him. It wasn't because of him. It was because she was mentally unstable. Threatening suicide to make someone stay with you is abuse. Actually doing it when they leave is next level. This will follow him for the rest of his life, and it absolutely is not his fault. It's a shame that even in death, she is abusing him. He should have called 911 and reported her suicide threat. 72 hours in what one Redditor referred to as the Grippy Sock Hotel would either have gotten her the help she needed or taught her that was a bad strategy, but her suicide was not his fault. Chances are, if she really wanted to take her life, as soon as the 72 hours was up, she would have anyway. He could have done a lot of things, and it might not have changed anything. In the end, she made the choice to take her own life, and it just so happens that the people around her looking to blame anyone else to have a convenient scapegoat. Her family could have gotten her help. Her friends could have gotten her help. She could have gotten herself help. In the end, only she is the reason that she is no longer here. Maybe, but as someone who has attempted twice under some extreme emotional distress, I felt very, very different 24 hours later. Yeah, see, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, there are probably some cases that it's just like a situation that makes you want to do that. But I don't know. I feel bad. I've been the 911 caller. He went to the hospital. What? He went to the hospital and was released after a slight extension on a 5150. I let him back after more threats on other people's careers and reputations. He'd been released with no actual help because he couldn't acknowledge he needed any. I'm no longer around him, but I still feel threatened with anonymous messages here and on Instagram with vague suicide threat themed usernames. The messages are friendly and written under the guise of helping me with something. That's really scary. The only red flag I see is using the friend to get back at his ex. The ex ending herself, that's on her. Threatening to end your life is manipulative and abusive. It should have been taken seriously and reported so the person could get help, but it isn't a red flag that he didn't report her threats. OP, this was not about your boyfriend. It was entirely about the ex. That friend who contacted you is what we refer to as a shit disturber. That's not something that needs to follow him. He may have said and done some not nice things, but she was trying to manipulate him and force him to accept being with a cheater. Your boyfriend was more of a victim than she was. Ugh, I don't like that. Don't punish him for this, OP. I'm sure the people blaming him have made him suffer enough when he was not at fault. I don't know. I don't like that really that much, because I just feel very empathetic for that. Obviously, like, I mean, she got to the point where she, like, took her own life, and to kind of, I feel like a lot of people in the comments are, like, kind of shit-talking her, and that's, I don't think, the right thing to do. Although, obviously, yeah, that is very manipulative to do, and, like, that's not okay. That, I mean, she is not here anymore, and that's also very upsetting. So I just don't think that, like, people should be saying stuff like that in the comments. Just, like, that is just something that is very, why am I gonna cry? Okay. Not me literally about to bawl my eyes out. Let's go to the next story. I was gonna, like, kind of say some more stuff, but I feel bad. Okay. I'm literally crying. Stop. Okay. I just feel bad because, like, I have, like, dealt with someone in my life, like, very close to me, having attempted suicides, and I just feel like, obviously, it's very, like, manipulative to do that to someone, but when you're in that state, I'm not saying that she's, like, right for doing that. I'm not excusing that at all. Like, obviously, that's not okay, and you can't just blame, like, your mental health for that, but just, like, having someone very close to me, like, attempting multiple times throughout, like, a very long period of time, and being around it, like, self-harm and, like, walking in on something like that, it's just, like, so sad, because just they're just, like, really sad, and it's really sad that when they can't, sometimes even, like, medicine, or even, like in my experience with the person that I'm talking about, I don't want to say, like, who it is, just because I don't feel like that is, like, right or my place, but was someone that is very close to me, and there were, like, multiple things that I experienced with this person, including, like, walking in on self-harm and, like, multiple times and things like that. And I just know, like, she was trying to get help, and she was trying medication, and medications weren't working for her, and it was, like, you know, she did try to get help. So it's like, yeah, you can get help, but sometimes the help doesn't help, you know, like, some people, it takes a while to figure out, or maybe sometimes you just never do figure it out. And this person that I'm talking about has borderline personality disorder, which from what I know is not like treatable. I think you can like learn how to cope with it and learn things and like not solutions, but ways to cope with it and stuff, but I don't think that like it's actually like treatable with medicine and stuff. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but also like I've been in that situation before. I've never like attempted anything like that, but I have had like ideations about it a lot before I was on medicine, which I think I mentioned before. But that was like honestly probably like a year or two long of just like it felt like really internal suffering, and like I didn't want to get on medication just because I felt like, I don't know, I just grew up in a household that it was like medication is really bad for you, and I felt like I didn't want to get on medication because of that, because it wasn't healthy and stuff. But I'm really glad I actually ended up deciding to get on medication. But that was crazy. I don't know why that makes me so emotional. I just think it's something very close to my heart and something that I've dealt with myself, although I personally never attempted anything like that. But I know how it feels to like feel like that and feel so terrible. So, yeah. But we're going to move on because I have like a frog in my throat now. And I hope that didn't make everyone else as sad as it made me, because this next story was submitted by a Storytime Society member. And I'm assuming she wrote it in like a big paragraph, but I cannot read like that because I have issues reading, as you guys know. So I'm like in my notes right now trying to separate them into paragraphs, because otherwise I will literally like not be able to get through it. And sometimes I already can't get through it. Okay. So sorry about that. That was so dramatic of me. Like, why am I literally about to bawl my eyes out on a podcast? Stop it. Okay. Ready? The next story. I was ghosted after he got me pregnant. Trigger warning, abortion. I have never made a Reddit post, so the format is foreign to me. You can laugh, it's okay. I, 23 female, got pregnant when I was 21 and was ghosted by someone I was close with. To start, I was months out of a 6-year relationship. An old fling of mine from middle school and high school reached out to me, and we began talking again. He lived 7 hours away and gave many excuses why he couldn't see me. He needed new tires, he was sick, etc. However, it was around Christmas time, and he had been telling me he bought me all of these presents, so I clearly thought that he had the intention of seeing me if he had gotten me gifts. I was an absolute naive, hopeless romantic, and made the effort to see him first. Never do this, in parentheses. He will see you if he wants to. He was not the kindest to me in the past, but unfortunately, he was my first love. I decided to give him another chance and went and drove 7 hours to see him. While I stayed for the 3 days, he was not feeling the best. He had initiated sex with me, and we went ahead and did it for the first time ever, but we stopped very quickly. He said he didn't feel good, and so we didn't continue. This was really the only sexual experience that we had together. I go home, and weeks go by. He is acting sort of strange. He was responding very dry, and I had asked him about it. He said everything was okay, even though he had acted this way in the past before he'd stopped talking to me. I start feeling sick and vividly remember walking through the bread aisle feeling like I wanted to throw up. My boobs were on fire, my period was late, and my cat was constantly laying on my womb. After the bread aisle, I bought a pregnancy test. That night happened to be the night before I started my first day of student teaching. The test was positive, and I was completely alone in my college apartment during winter break. I was shocked and scared and couldn't stop crying. I didn't quite understand how I got pregnant from this small interaction. I was with someone for 6 years, did the pull-out method, and never got pregnant. I had sex for 15 seconds, where he says he didn't come, and I do. I know this is obviously possible. Crazy things happen all the time. But he swore he didn't finish, and I personally don't believe that. I told the boy about it, and he was obviously freaking out as well. At this point, we were still communicating, and I asked to call him and talk about it with him. Each day that went by, he responded less and less, and he would not call me, and essentially texted me that he'd want me to have an abortion. I was so conflicted about what to do, but eventually decided that I would have the abortion. He paid for it, and it happened at home with pills. He basically didn't speak to me after he paid for it, and eventually led to nothing at all. I was completely alone, and it was the most painful experience I've had so far in life. It was heartbreaking, scary, and I still question if I did the right thing. I know my dream is to be a mom, but I didn't want that experience with him. Sometimes I feel like a terrible person, but I was a scared 21-year-old girl. I like my life now and wouldn't want it to be different, but I see moms being so happy with their children or people at my job announcing their pregnancy, and it still stings a bit. I'm happy now and have never wished badly upon anyone, but I do wish badly upon him for completely abandoning me at this time. One of my biggest regrets is seeing him, and I had friends telling me not to do it, and I didn't listen. I know this wasn't the best decision to see him, and would never put so much effort into someone who wouldn't do the same for me. So please don't berate me. LOL. Just wanted to share my story. Aw. Well, all I have to say is you made the decision that you thought was best for you, and although obviously you can't control how you feel about it, if you're upset about it, that makes 100% sense. That is, your feelings are valid, but just know that you did the right thing for what you thought at the time, and that's totally fine, and you should never feel shame about that, and he should honestly feel like a shitty person for, a good person, although even if he didn't want to be with you and, have something with you, a good person would still, support you as, a friend. Even if it's just saying hey, I don't see anything happening with us. I don't want to be romantically involved, but I would love to be there for you during this time, because obviously that is a very, very vulnerable time. I've heard that it's very painful and it's a lot to go through. Some people don't feel some people don't, I'm saying emotionally don't feel things when they get an abortion, and some people do, and that just depends on how you feel about it, and both feelings to me are valid. I'm very, very pro-choice, so I believe that you should have the choice, and you obviously were a 21-year-old girl that didn't feel like she could take care of a child, which probably was right, and I think that you made the best decision for yourself. So although you're going to be sad about it, and that's okay, you should just let yourself be sad and, feel sad about it when you get sad. It's okay to feel sad about those things, I always wonder, how I would feel if I had to do that, because, when I was, younger, I was always so scared of getting pregnant because, literally, I was always poor. I was, in college, I didn't have any money in college. If I got pregnant, I would have been screwed. So, I do think that I probably would have gotten an abortion if it ever came to that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm so pro-choice. I've had friends that have gotten abortions, when we were really young. And I always wonder, how I would feel about it. Because, I feel like I wouldn't really connect it early on. To me, it would just feel like taking a plan B for some reason. I don't know. I don't know. But I always wonder if I would be, sad about it or not. Because I think that I personally feel that it's okay to feel sad about it, and it's okay to not feel sad about it. That's how I feel about it. But I always wonder how I would feel about it, I always wonder if I would be sad about it or not, because I don't really know unless it actually happened to me. But obviously I would wish not to be sad about it. But I hope that you end up having a child, and because obviously you said you dreamed of being a mom, and I think that one day when you're ready, you can make that decision for yourself, and you will be a great mom. I've like never dreamt, like I was never the type of kid, like I always hear girls saying like I always dreamt of my wedding when I was little, like I dreamt of getting married, and like I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always felt like a calling to be a mom, and like I've never felt those things. And like obviously I think that's fine. I do now that I'm older, like I know that in the future I want to have kids, but definitely not right now. Like I don't feel ready for it at all. And while some people my age do feel ready, that's, you know, to each their own, but I just don't see myself mentally, emotionally, physically, anything being there right now, or in like even within the next year. I don't see that happening. I see like myself probably around like 30, maybe even later. I don't know how I'm gonna feel, because when I was like 12 years old, I thought I was gonna be married and have kids by the time I was 21 years old. You know, like you think you're gonna be so old when you're so young. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I've never dreamt of my wedding. Like I never ever thought about it when I was younger. I never dreamt of being pregnant. I've never like felt like I need, like I should be a mom. Like I wasn't one really. I did have like baby dolls here and there, but I was more like, I came home from school, like elementary school, and I had like a whiteboard and a chalkboard, and I had like 100 stuffed animals that I was teaching class to for hours on end. Like literally from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. I was teaching on that chalkboard to my imaginary ass stuffed animals. And that was like the most fun I've ever had in my lifetime. I wish I still like could easily have fun like that. Like I wish that things were as enjoyable as they were when you were younger. Like things, such minuscule things were so fun when you were like little. And yeah, I wish that were still how it was. I love being nostalgic, and I always feel nostalgic about everything. But I'm trying to think, what time is it? 6:17. I think my boyfriend is not even on his way home yet from work, but I feel as though I am a little bit mentally drained from almost having to bawl my eyes out on camera. Oh no. I'm getting, what is it? Post-nut clarity. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm so emotional all the time. Like, I cry at everything, so it's probably going to happen a lot more, and you might as well get used to it now, you know? But let me know what you guys thought about the stories, and let me know your guys' like takes and opinions on them. Obviously, any opinion is welcome. I don't really care if people disagree with me, agree with me. I'm very neutral about it, and yeah, I just want to hear you guys' thoughts, because it's always fun to chat with you guys about what you guys think and all that. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you are not already, subscribe, comment down below, like the video, maybe share with a friend or family. Maybe turn on your post notifications, the little bell icon next to the subscribe button, I think. I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm not like a professional or anything, but that will tell you whenever I upload videos, which is literally Monday through Friday. Because true crime I'm doing now on Mondays and Thursdays. But these types of episodes, just like the storytime, regular storytime episodes, are uploaded on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. True crime is on Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. And if you want to become a member of the Storytime Society subreddit, the link is down below. So join that. And if you have anything to share, obviously share, cross-post, whatever you want to do. There's not really any rules on there besides just like don't bully and don't like be a bitch. Okay, I love you. Say bye. Say bye.